Diane Rosales, your learning buddy for the subject Teaching English in the Elementary Grades through Literature. Class, for today's topic, let's talk about the elements of a short story. But before that, let's have first to define what is a short story. Class, a short story, it tells about a single event or experience. It is a fictional, not true. 500 to 15,000 words in length. It is a beginning, middle, and end. Creates an impression in the reader. That is a short story. Example of a short story: Goldilocks and the Three Bears. It is certainly one of the most famous examples of a short story. Other tales, such as Edgar Allan Poe's The Telltale's Heart and The Lottery Ticket by Anton Chekhov, also fall on this category. Class, now let's proceed to the 8 elements of a short story, starting with the setting, the characterization, the plot, the conflict, the climax, the resolution, the theme, and the point of view. First, let's have the setting. The setting tells the reader where and when the story takes place. It's the character's environment, including the season, the weather, the time of the day, the year, the exact location, the geographical features, and everything else that is possibly in their surroundings. Next is the characterization. The characterization is the creation of imaginary people who appear to be real to the reader. The writer gives information about the characters in the story. Authors characterize by indirect and direct characterization. Indirect characterization is when the author uses verb to show readers what a character does. For example, Mary sat on the couch all day and did not do her homework. Now, moving on to the direct characterization. The direct characterization is when the author uses adjectives to tell what a character is like. For example, Mary was lazy. Next element of a short story is the plot. A plot is a series of events through which the writer reveals what is happening to whom and why. It is the main events of a play, novel, movie, or similar work devised and presented by the writer as an interrelated sequence. Next is the conflict. A conflict is a problem in a story that needs to be resolved. In a literature and film, conflict is a clash between two opposing forces that creates the narrative thread for a story. Conflict occurs when the main character struggles with either an external conflict or an internal conflict. An internal conflict is a struggle occurring within a character's mind. Things such as character can also be a decision-making issue. The term internal conflict is also widely used to describe a military conflict within a nation, such as a civil war. An external conflict is a problem, antagonism, or struggle that takes place. External conflict derives the action of a plot forward. In an external conflict, the character may be struggling against another character, the natural world, or society. Class, there are 4 types of conflict: the man versus man, the man versus himself, the man versus nature, the man versus society. When we say man versus man, the main character clashes with another character. For example, Mathilde and Claire compete for the final final spot in the cheerleading squad. Man versus himself, the character battles himself or herself. For example, Jacob must choose whether to tell his mom about his bad choice. Next is the man versus nature. The man versus nature, it is the main character fights to endure or overcome forces of nature. For example, Mark and Kyle are in the woods playing with they realize a tornado is coming. Man versus society, it is the main character challenges a law, tradition, or institution. For example, a group of students gather to protest police brutality. The climax is when the action comes to its highest point of conflict. Here, there is a turning point in the action, a shift of a story occurs. Next is the resolution. The resolution, the story's action after the climax until the end of a story, where all of the loose ends are tied up. This falling action leads to the conclusion of the story. Next is the theme. The story's main ideas, the message the writer intends to communicate by telling the story. Point of view. The point of view is the position of a narrator of the story and what a writer sees from the vantage point. First person point of view is one involved directly in the action of the story, telling the story. The third person point of view, one looking onto the action but not directly involved. Omniscient, all-knowing narrator. Class, I have already introduced to you the 8 elements of a short story. Once again, class, there are 8 elements of a short story. First is the setting, the characterization, the plot, the conflict, the climax, the resolution, the theme, and the point of view. And I believe that great writers are able to use the elements of a short story with such precision that the reader is caught up in the action of the story. This is a mark of a good story and our goal as a writer. That's all, class, for our topic for today, and I am teacher Diane Rosales is now signing off.